If you had to describe your marriage as a movie that you've seen before, what movie would that be and why?
Oh my God.
What's good, T2K fam? I'm back with another video, but today's topic is marriage, is it worth it? I had an opportunity to interview this beautiful sister named Raquelle Harris, better known as Rocki. She has a podcast and it's called Rocki's Reality. Y'all gotta check it out. And she serves as a writer and editor for her own business called Right Down to It. In addition to that, she is a contributor writer for Rolling Out magazine. Now, she has been married 18 years and also has 2 beautiful children. Let's dig in as we break it down on is it really worth it or not, or the misconceptions of marriage. Enjoy, y'all.
I like how can be diplomatic. I love his sense of humor. I like that he is a nice guy. He's a guy from the hood, but Ben is just really a nice guy. And he's very generous. Even though he's the only child, he's very generous. I like that about him. And I like that he makes me laugh. I mean, we're friends. He's educated. He's smart. He's handsome. He's charismatic. He's generous. And he's calm. A lot of times he shows me some things, how to approach life that I wouldn't even, because I'm like, ugh. I'm hot. Aries is like, we ready, right? But he's real. He's, for the main part, he's a chill guy. So I like that he's like that calm to my storm.
Ooh,
a lot of times. He's the calm to my storm a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I noticed a lot of people mention that what has saved their relationship or their marriage is because they have been friends with the person first. And if it wasn't for that, they probably would have been out of their marriage by now.
Mm-hmm. I was like, if you just looking for a fuck buddy, just keep it moving. And I remember he told me, like, that's what struck him about me, that I just came out was, if you trying to just fuck, get on with it. Mm-hmm. And that's what made him be like, okay, let me get to know her a little bit. And so, it just, yeah.
So let me tie into that. When you mentioned that you had sex with him in 2 weeks, was that going to be the determining factor if you would have went on further with him? So what if the sex was whack? You was going.
I knew for me, being sexually compatible was a big deal for me, for someone who I wanted to be my life mate. And at that point, I was 22. I was a hot girl, I was a hot girl, baby. I was 22.
You was Megan Thee Stallion. Hey.
Yeah, I was like savage, classy, bougie, ratchet shit.
Right.
I was nasty. I was just like, look, I need to know, because my thing is, life is too short for bad sex. And I've always been a woman who embraces my sexuality and feels like women shouldn't have to fake orgasms. That's part, to this day, what keeps us together is our sex, the great sex that we have. And to be with someone who sexually satisfies you, who you're sexually compatible with, is important, especially in marriage, because that's the person you supposed to be with. It might seem superficial to people, but that is something that does help in the relationship.
Well, you know what I mean? Well, research already says off rip that the reason why most people in their relationship is because of sex, financial, and communication.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. I mean, let's just face fact. I mean, you keeping it all the way real.
Finances are a lot of times what we are fighting about, because we both were raised with different philosophies on money, and we both experienced some trauma related to money. Okay. So that made us distrustful at times. To this day, we still have to be careful when we're discussing finances, because we know we can go left real quick. But we've also gone through some times where now we see that shit ain't as bad as it could be, and we have been blessed. Because he, it was a point where after he had the stroke, he wasn't working. I mean, we've been through some very treacherous times as far as that.
You just touched on when he had a stroke, okay? Anytime something happens, rather if it's an illness or a fire or something with your kids that's traumatic, do you feel like it brings you closer together, or does it put strife on the marriage?
Oh, it definitely has put strife.
Wow.
There have definitely been times where we were fighting like cats and dogs. Like, yes, it has with strife. But then after we're able to come back down, it's like we can talk about it later and say, okay, this is where we went wrong. This is where we got too out the box. Let's bring it back. And then we had those moments where it's like, you know what? It's clicking now. Now that we are calm and we not in our egos and in our feelings, now we can come up with a plan. So it's definitely caused some strife, because the thing is, both of us are strong. I'm an alpha female, he's an alpha male. So a lot of times it's like ain't nobody backing down. And that is something I've had to learn as a wife to, lay back in the cut. And that's something I still work on. That's something I still, at times, sometimes he still has to tell me, like, shut your ass up, taking it too far. But that's part of what I do like about him and respect about him. It's ebb and flow. We've definitely had some terrible times, but we've also had some outstanding times. It's like, when it's good, it is great. But when it's bad, it's like, oh shit.
God help me.
Right. So but that's why I said, but God, but God has gotten us to this point where we still like each other, where we still get excited when we kiss and hug, and we still flirt with each other and gross our kids out,
If you had to describe your marriage as a movie that you've seen before, what movie would that be and why?
Oh my God. Damn, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, probably. Because we gangster with me. Because they were fighting, but they was loving good too. I don't know what. It would be a couple movies though. That's hard to describe. Jason's Lyric is another one that reminds me of us a little bit, because that was one of the first gifts he bought me. He bought me the DVD for Jason's Lyric, and I just
really. That's cute.
If anyone wants a tip, make sure they have a great relationship with their parents, or at least a parent who is your sex. Like if it's a guy, he should have a good relationship with his mama. If it's a woman, she should have a good relationship with her daddy, because my daddy issues affected us too. But I loved how he loved on his mama and respected her. And that drew me to him too. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Because you marry him, you marry them.
What do you think is the biggest misconceptions that single people have about marriage?
Well, I think they have misconceptions that it's like a bad situation, for one. That is that you're trapped. I think I really see more negative misconceptions about marriage, more so than positive, especially like with social media. And definitely there has been a decline in how people respect marriage. But one of the biggest misconceptions too is that everything gonna be hunky dory. That you didn't go through that if you get cheated on, you not gonna that you just gonna break up automatically. That ain't always the case. Everybody has a different deal breaker. That you're gonna handle that you should be getting other people's advice on how to handle your shit.
Sure.
And though you should have some mentors, but you gotta think of the source. So I think also single people forget. Well, not forget. I think some people get so caught up in the wedding, you forget. They don't realize how you got to work on the marriage. Like everybody want a nice wedding, right? They want it to be all nice and pretty. But once you get married, you realize like, shit, I could have saved some of that money for a house or some other shit. Or I could have invested more in our counseling. Just to me, I think also a big thing that kind of bothers me, again, that single people have a misconception that marriage is just so closed off. You don't have options. You got to lose yourself. And that's not the case. You can still be an individual, but that's a conversation that needs to be addressed and had. And also that you can take care of everything before you get married. Like people like, I want to do this, this, and this before I get married. You're not going to be able to address every single thing that you need to before marriage. There is definitely some things that you can address and handle, but you're not going to be able to foresee every situation that's going to come your way. And also saying what you going to do, because you don't know what you going to do until you get in that situation. You don't know what you're going to be faced with. You don't know the for better or the for worse. So for people to be like, well, if that was me, I would do this. And if you do, that's cool. But a lot of times, how many times have you said what you're going to do if you get in a situation, and then when you get in that situation, it plays out different?
All the time.
So, and I just, also I think single people sometimes they get caught up in these lists of what they want and what my husband, my future husband need to be, my future wife need to be this. And it's like, they might not be that. And it might be some things you got to compromise on. And it might not, and not necessarily settling, but compromise. So you got to compromise, because marriage is not about you. Ooh, and that's something that you come to learn too. Marriage is a sacrifice. Just like when you have children or anything you sacrifice for, if you want something, anything worth having takes hard work and sacrifice that you sometimes did not believe you were going to have to go through. And a lot of times people think, married people are miserable, it's boring. And there are definitely ebbs and flows. But the highs is so highs and the lows can be lows too. But again, I just, that's why I always try to give an authentic view of marriage. And people be like, y'all so cute. And I'm like, you don't know. But I mean, just realistically,
yesterday.
Right. It's the facts of life. Don't be pressured into picking who you think your family would want you to be with either. Pick who you think about, what plans you have for your life and the type of person you want there to be with you as you are riding through life. And again, it's not always going to be perfect at all. It's about progress, not perfection.
I'm just about to keep it all the way real, okay? So I do believe in marriage. I do believe in any type of love, but particularly Black love. I root for anybody Black. Let's just keep it all the way 100.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
I mean, if you don't like it, then hey, I don't know what
Amen.
to tell you.
Amen.
But at the end of the day, what has happened for me is that, I've entertained dating sites, and that's a whole nother beast in itself. Okay. That's probably another topic for another time. But the thing is, I'll get on a dating site and then I'll see somebody that I know that's married. Their husband is on the dating site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And guess what? Guess what? I'm not going to call the person name out, but if you're watching this, you're going to get a little ouch. Okay. You about to get a little ouch right now. Okay. So you get on. Yes. Cause that's how we do with Tia2Kewl and Rocki's reality.
Right.
Unapologetic.
Call a thing a thing. Excuse me, being messy, being in people's inboxes. I was just telling Ben that last week about one of his boys who've been hopping in one of my girls' inboxes, and he's married. And I'm like, look, we know his wife is crazy. So you might want to put a little bug in his ear. He need to be careful. Thank God my friend is not messy, where she was screenshot and sent some shit. But yeah, people can be, yeah. So, and the thing is that you can't stop nobody, because what's done in the dark always comes to the light.
And I mean, that's true. But what I'm saying is that it has happened so many times. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to back it up some. So it has happened so many times to the point where it's like, you got to be kidding me. Is this what I'm is this what I hope for? Is this what I intend to be married one day, when I got people that's talking cash shit in my inbox, and I'm like, is my husband, this is immediately what my mind goes to. Do all men do this? At some point, you can't be married for X amount of time and somebody don't cheat, or they have not thought about cheating, or they have not entertained it in some kind of way, by a look, by passing their number or something.
Right.
So that's the part that throws me off. And then also this, even until this day, I still have brothers that are stuck. And I'm not saying this is all men, so I'm not trying to put them all in a basket. But there's been a lot of men where I still have men that have a complexion issue. that colorism issue. You know, you're not talking to me because I'm a chocolate sister, okay? You want me to have my hair not in braids. You want me to have 30-inch hair down in my behind because you want this video girl. You have this perception of somebody that I can't be. And a lot of men too, they want you to have the big titties, big ass, and the flat stomach, which this stomach over here is not flat, baby. Okay. And they want you to cook, clean, be this kind of trophy wife. And you like, that's unrealistic.
Fuck them and all of that. Right. No, that's just a man woman thing. So you saying a few things. You concerned that is your husband gonna end up being a cheating asshole? Is he gonna be jumping in somebody's inbox? And also the men out here sound like they immature. They want them little video hoes. And my thing is, do we not take advantage of opportunities because we scared what could go bad? What if you do get a husband who is faithful? What if you do get a guy who is mature? Infidelity is something Ben and I have dealt with. We have dealt with that, and I never thought that he would be unfaithful. There were no indications of that.
Let me ask you this real quick. Sorry, not to intervene. So you mentioned it was infidelity there. If you don't mind sharing with us, did he ever say why he did it?
Because he was greedy and selfish.
Wow.
It'd be that simple for men, like women. So here's the thing. Women, when we cheat, it's because some type of emotional connection. We're feeling, someone is feeling that attention for us. We're mentally stimulated, or it might be sexually too, because if our husband ain't, putting it down like that, because women like to have, and that's a misconception too. Women like to have sex just as much as men, if not more. And a lot of times we hit our sexual peak and we keep going, be various reasons, but pretty much he was selfish and greedy. But also there's the accountability in what conditions were in place for you to feel comfortable to do that.
Wow.
So, and it's strange because I don't want to say, oh, it was my fault, because no, you make the decision. But I also knew during that time, I was not being the best wife I could be. Now
elaborate on that some more. So you said not being the best wife. So that's something that you recognize. So what does that mean in its entirety?
For other people it might mean something different, but for us it meant treating him like a child, talking down to him, being condescending, being a bitch, and also being focused. I was not. Because it's like I went through an evolution in a way, because I was so caught up in being a mother, going to work. And again, not to say that this excuses it at all, because again, it's still accountability on both sides. But you have to recognize what were the conditions at that point. What status were you all at? But again, he admitted it. He was just being greedy and selfish. And that's usually what infidelity is about. You being greedy and selfish, because it's never 100. It's never 50-50. And that's the misconception people have too, that, oh, if he do this, I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be half and half. No, it's gonna be sometimes where the scales are unbalanced. And people say equally yoked. That doesn't mean you're not equally yoked. That means sometimes you stand in the gap and sometimes your mate stands in the gap. It's like you all have to complement each other. It's never gonna be 50-50. It's gonna be sometimes where they're pulling their weight and vice versa. So, pretty much, and that was what it went down to, because pretty much I have been a damn good wife. Shit, I've been a great wife, but it was some maturity issue. It was a maturity issues on both of our parts that had to happen. And then also the way he was raised too. See, the way both of us were raised, a lot of times you show up in the marriage the way examples you've seen in your life and the people around you. And his dad was a hoe. His dad was a player. So that's kind of the mentality. He had the mentality of, oh, I want to get married, but he also was taught, oh, if I'm married, it's okay for me to do X, Y, and Z. And although
guess what? And she'll still be there after I do that.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. Exactly. And of course, yes, he knows he's got that in me because I'm loyal to a fault. I am loyal to a fault. And he knew that. I don't think he anticipated me finding out. But again, what's done in the dark always comes to the light. And that's why I was like, God revealed it to me.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, I don't know if it was discussed or not, and I don't think you'll mind if I touch on it, but did that woman know? Because a lot of times men say they have told the woman, yes, I am married. And
I don't know specifically what their conversation was. Okay, I don't know what their conversation was, because actually I did try to call and she didn't answer the phone. So I don't know, that must have been God, because I called several times and she did not answer the phone. So I don't know what he told her. Gotcha. He did tell me that she knew he was married. Oh, see, that's the part. So he did say that she knew he was married.
Aware.
Yeah,
she was aware.
Yeah, but my thing is, I'm not mad at her. She has no obligation to me. And see, that's something that I've tried to convey to people too. Like, when your mate cheat, I'm not mad at the other person. Now, unless she was someone I knew who knew us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's a different thing. But even still, your mate is the one who's responsible to you, not that other person. They ain't the one who stood up at the altar or the justice of the peace and took the vows. Your mate did.
That's true. But Rocki, at the same time, though, us as women gotta raise the bar to another standard. You get what I'm saying? Like, my thing is this: even if a guy is coming and he's having his hiccups and his reservations about why he is getting ready to cheat or whatever the case may be, that's when, if you are a woman of standard, you're supposed to say, okay, you know what? Hold up, wait a minute, time out. What's going on here? What's the point of me having sex with another man? What am I getting out of it? And even at that, even if it was a financial thing, because there's some men where it's like the side chick is doing better than the wife. She's getting all the gifts and the
shit, I wish the bitch would have paid some of my bills. I don't know. Shit. Pay some of my bills in. Shit. But no, I mean, the thing is, I don't even like to share my food. So I'm not knowingly you gonna be just with some side chick. But I don't know. I think a lot of times Ben is an alpha male, and he likes to have that ego fed. Mm-hmm. When that ego is not fed, and him being emotionally immature too, in a sense, not being able to verbalize certain things. So I don't know what attracted him to her. I don't know, because this was back like before my son was born. So I don't know what. I didn't even ask him like what attracted you to her, because I didn't give a fuck. My thing was,
right. It's like
whatever you try to say,
you knew better.
Why you were attracted to her? Right? Exactly.
Like what's really going on?
So whether she had more money or she seemed to listen to you more, mm-hmm. and as hopefully he has come to see, because mm-hmm. we haven't had any incidents since then, to my knowledge, is that she ain't gonna be with your ass when you broke as hell, or when your ass is in.
Come on, sis. Come on now.
This hospital. She not giving a fuck. You know which side your bread is buttered on. So that's something that I hope and pray. There are still times, Tia, where I'm like, is he doing something? And not that he gives me reason to, because he don't hang out late at night. He go to work, come home, and all of that. And that's why I was so surprised, because he wasn't the type of guy who just out here flirting and doing shit. And that's why I wasn't like suspicious, because he wasn't like out in the streets like that. He would go to work, come home, and he's not social, he's not an extrovert like me.
Right.
So, gotcha. So that was that was me being naive though at that time.
So let me throw this in there. So every woman deal breaker is different for them. Was that a deal breaker for you?
Before I got married, yeah. But once I was married with 2 children and thinking about, do I want to be a single mother like my mom? And to be honest, no, I didn't. Hell no. Shit, even as a married mom, I'd be tired sometimes. So I knew I didn't want to be a single mother, but also I had to look at, was I still in love with him? Did we still have something we could build on? Because it wasn't solely I stayed because of the children, because I was like, no, I'm not going to be miserable with him and teaching my children to be with somebody I'm miserable with. I was still in love with him. I still loved him. I still liked him. So I had to make the decision for my life. Did I want to be divorced with 2 kids? Nope. Right. I didn't want to be struggling. I don't want to be taking out the trash. I don't want to be shoveling the snow. And it might seem superficial, but I didn't want to get to know someone else and be able to trust them with my vision and what I'm trying to do. Because part of why I am where I am as far as with my media career is a lot to do with Ben encouraging me and making sacrifices as well. So I had to consider all of that when it happened. Like, do I really want to move forward in my life without him? And yes, before I was married, that was a deal breaker for me.
Now, what's the deal breaker now since you are married?
If he was to beat me, if he was just blatantly disrespectful, or I'm at the point where if infidelity came up again, I probably would look at separating from him, because I'm now more confident in myself than I was then. And now my children are older too. So at that time, when the infidelity happened, I still had a lot of issues with myself and loving myself and realizing who I was. At the time, I didn't realize that I had to establish myself outside of the marriage. Even though I still would hang out and stuff, I didn't have the media thing going on. I didn't realize all the possibilities out there for myself as far as career wise. And it just that has just built up my confidence a lot. So I really didn't have the confidence then. So now though,
Come on,
I have told his motherfucking ass, you would be a goddamn fool to cheat on me.
Look, okay? Try it.
Because I'm at the point now, I told him this a while ago, like, still gonna be blessed and favored, and I'm not afraid to be without you anymore. I don't want to be, but I'm not fearful of that anymore. So it's like, for me, it was it really helped me to grow up. It really helped me to come to realize, like, you know what? And I don't want to say I'm grateful for it, but sometimes we manifest our greatest fears, just like we manifest things that we want. Sometimes you manifest your greatest fears. And that was a fear for me. And I think at times I operated out of that fear.
Wow.
So again, I'm not placing, I definitely am not assuming the blame for that, because I still feel like you make your decisions.
That's true.
You are the one who, because it's many times I see people I'm attracted to. And especially with me being in the media, the different events that I've gone to, the different studios I've been in and different places, I could have been did something. But it's just not the way I'm cut. That's just not me.
If you would have cheated, how do you think you would have? Hey,
girl, couldn't take it.
He would have been over your sleep, looking over your head, like,
couldn't take it. And who knows what might happen in the future? Who knows what might happen in the future? I ain't saying that I am, but shit, you just never know. You never know. But I don't think that would make me feel better. But right, they won't be, and that's something you come to learn about men and women when you marry, that really physically they're stronger than us. Technically, physiologically they're stronger than us, but mentally and emotionally, a lot of times men are not stronger than us.
I hear this term all the time, or phrase, date your spouse. Do you think it's vital, and do you date your spouse, and how do you make that work? Because he has a job, you have a job, we got the kids, the whole home life. How do you make that work?
Well, I definitely believe in dating your spouse. And the thing is, even if we don't get a date night, we always make sure we spend time together and do stuff together. And that, so even if we watching a TV show together, or we having a drink on a patio or something, or just a quiet moment in the kitchen, even if it's us walking on the river walk. So yeah, I definitely believe in dating your spouse. And even if you can't go out on a fancy date, just making time for each other, making time where y'all can watch a TV show together, y'all can have some type of chit chat during the day. And just, again, making it purposeful, where we like, we going out of town by ourselves. we are purposely, like if we're in a group setting, a lot of times me and him are good for just going off on our own without other people. Like we good for that. Like, yeah, we about to dip. We will see y'all later.
I hear this term a lot too. How you start is how you finish. Do you agree with that?
In a way, because I mean, he's always known, even when I met him, the type of woman that I am, and the type of shit the way I'm cut. So even to this day, he knows how to approach me and how to talk with me with certain things. And for him, I've learned to like, I mean, I guess, yeah, but okay, so I don't know if that's for every situation, because things happen where the dynamic shifts.
Okay.
So I don't know if I say that's across the board, because there are certain things that when we met that are still the same, but there are certain things that are not the same.
Because what? He's matured. He's had different experiences.
I have too. Marriage will make you mature.
Right.
For sure. It will make, now both of us we still have some growing to do. But yeah, so it is certain things that are still the same with us, but it's a lot of things that have changed as well. So we started off with him knowing that he got to come correct if you approaching me. Don't come with that bullshit. And to this day, he knows, like, don't even come talking crazy to me about something, because he already know it, and I also know with him how to approach him a certain way, because that's pretty much how, he trained me too on how to love him in a way. So I guess it could be that way for some people, but I don't know necessarily if that's just like it's hard to have these generalizations,
Yeah.
Because
that's
you don't
true.
know what's going to happen along the way to shift the dynamic. And a lot of times God will step in like, you thought you was going to do it that way. No, you're going to do it this way.
Yeah. So it's not like marriage is definitely a journey. You either just got to be up for the ride or not, right?
Girl, and you don't know. And I know some people on your page were like, I don't want to, it's not for me. And that's something people got to be honest with themselves, because marriage ain't for everybody. It's not. And some people just sometimes got to come to terms with that. Like, it ain't for everybody. It's not. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, I'll have single friends like, oh, because you married, and I'm like, it ain't, everybody's life is different. You pick the path that's best for you.
Thank y'all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. I truly appreciate it. If you want to see more content like this, I got to hear from you. Drop a comment down below and I will honor your request. Now it's shout out time. Much love goes to my girl from Delta Sigma Pi, Ebony Johnson. She's one of my first few people to like the video, comment, watching it, doing the whole 9. I appreciate the love. But like always, until I see you again, take care of yourself. Peace.